Tonight on TV2 News, a new addition to dining on campus. Why the pandemic has made eating harder and where you can go starting tomorrow.
And how businesses in downtown Kent are working together to save themselves by helping their customers save money.
Early in-person voting in Ohio is reaching record-breaking numbers. The increase in ballots tripling since 2016. What this means for the election that is just 20 days away.
And California Senator and Vice President hopeful Kamala Harris is set to make her first campaign stop in Northeast Ohio. All of this and more as TV2 News starts right now.
This is TV2 News.
Good Wednesday evening. We're glad to have you with us tonight. A new promotion Main Street Kent is rolling out. That's where we'll begin. I'm Chris Abreu.
And I'm Shane Troyano.
The pandemic has affected local businesses such as the ones that line the streets of downtown Kent. But two local entities are working together to bring life back to those downtown streets.
That's right, Chris. Our Jenna Gobrecht was downtown today visiting some of the businesses involved.
Hometown Bank has partnered up with Main Street Kent to help the Kent community show support for local businesses. Through the rest of this week, shoppers who spend $20 or more at participating retail locations will receive a $5 gift card that they can spend at any of those locations. The project is part of Main Street Kent's Local Shop Local campaign, encouraging members of the Kent community to patronize the businesses that line the streets of downtown Kent. There are 14 stores that are a part of this promotion, including Kent Natural Foods. Their employee Liza says the promotion has been very successful.
It's been a really great thing to kind of be involved with the community and the local shop local. I love that idea that kind of trying to bring the community together to support these so many local businesses that we see downtown.
Hometown Bank is subsidizing the gift cards, meaning that the local businesses won't be losing any money.
It's kind of hard for a lot of small businesses, so they are kind of making it possible. So we're super grateful for that. The participation of the other small businesses wouldn't have been as high had it not been for them doing that.
The usual bustling streets of downtown Kent have been a bit empty since the pandemic began in March. Local business owners say that this promotion is helping them get back on their feet.
Oh, it's been a really hard few months. I mean, it's still impossible to predict week to week what's going to happen. So, having this program available to us is just super helpful, not just for people getting the discount, but for people being aware that we're open.
Business owners like Mike say that the deal benefits not only the stores, but also the members of the Kent community.
So this is a way that they can support us, and then they can also save a little money for themselves. So it's really a win-win.
Reporting for TV2 News in Kent, I'm Jenna Gobrecht.
University Dining Services will add another outdoor heated tent on the Student Green by the Kent Student Center starting tomorrow. This new tent will be open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The tents are to provide safe seating for students across campus during the coronavirus pandemic. Students can bring food into these tents to sit and eat, but there will be no food served within them.
New states have been added to Ohio's travel advisory list. Any state with a positivity rate of 50% or higher will be added to the list weekly. And today, Indiana was added. Anyone traveling to Ohio from the states will be asked to quarantine for 14 days out of an abundance of caution to slow the virus. And as you can see here, states like Nevada, Kansas, Idaho, and Iowa are listed, as they have been on the list for weeks. And Governor Mike DeWine signed a permanent fixture in Ohio yesterday for businesses to sell to-go alcoholic beverages. This bill includes bars, restaurants, small breweries, micro distilleries, and wineries to take part. According to the new law, the to-go drinks can only be sold with a meal, and each establishment planning to take part must make an effort in ensuring the customer is 21.
The Ohio Department of Health reported the largest daily increase of COVID-19 cases since the start of the pandemic earlier today. 2,000 new cases were found today, and new hospitalizations nearly surpassed its peak. Portage County, along with Trumbull and Ashland, remain in the level 3 or red zone for risk of COVID-19. And early in-person voting in 2020 in Ohio tripled the turnout compared to 2016. This comes with an all-time high in requests for absentee ballots. Over 190,000 people in Ohio voted in person during the first week of early voting. Statewide, nearly 2.5 million requested absentee ballots. Early in-person voting ends on November 2nd, and the deadline for absentee ballots is October 31st.
Democratic nominee for Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to make a campaign stop in Cleveland later this week. The U.S. Senator is expected to travel to Northeast Ohio on Friday, as announced by the Biden-Harris campaign earlier this morning. More details about her stop in Cleveland have not been released yet. And speaking of Joe Biden, the Democratic presidential nominee on Tuesday publicly endorsed United States Representative Tim Ryan for re-election in Ohio's 13th congressional district. Ryan is running for his 10th consecutive term against Stark County native and former state representative Christina Hagan, who President Donald Trump endorses. Biden says Ryan is a champion for Ohio's working families and is proud to stand with him.
Faculty at Youngstown State are set to strike for a third day as negotiations between them and the university continue to sit at a standstill. Dr. Mark Vopat, YSU OEA spokesperson, says the union is holding out for reasons other than wage increase, such as intellectual rights and a say in department chairs, among other things. We caught up with him in Youngstown as today's strike came to a close.
What I do know is that in the releases that they're sending out, they are completely ignoring that issue. We've said over and over again, this is not just about pay. This is, not just about healthcare even. It's about these issues of faculty rights.
Good evening, Portage County. I'm Nathan Welsh with your Wednesday evening weather report. So looking at Kent, it is 58 degrees out, though it feels like 62. With a dew point at 42 and winds from the southeast at 5 miles an hour. We have a humidity at 47% with a visibility out to 10 miles. And looking across northeast Ohio, you can see we have, again, just some temperatures in the mid to high 50s, around 60 over here in Mansfield. And we can see similar trends across all of Ohio, although down to 47 in Athens. So again, we're starting to get some cooler temperatures, but again, we're kind of hovering around this nice, normal fall weather. And looking at tonight's weather, it's just going to be clear and a bit windy. It's going to be 60 out. Again, there's those 13 mile an hour winds. The sunrise tomorrow at 7:37, and the sunset just in a bit, actually, at 6:45 p.m. Now, with those clear skies, some stargazing might be in order. And my astronomer brother tells me that Mars is the brightest tonight that it will be all year. So get out your telescopes or just the naked eye. Thank you.
The new information regarding Amy Coney Barrett's third day on Capitol Hill, the questions senators are asking, and the Republicans' plans for the hearings.
And after the cancellation of the second presidential debate, President Trump and Joe Biden are holding competing town halls on the same night. All the details to follow.
Stay tuned. I'll have your 7-day forecast and what weather to expect tonight after this break.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Thanks for sticking with us. From record-breaking numbers for early in-person voting to Dunkin' Donuts introducing a new spicy donut just in time for the holidays. We have you covered.
That's right. Our national correspondent, Gabby Jonas, has more with your National News Minute.
For a national news update, 10.5 million Americans have early voted for the upcoming 2020 election. In Texas, thousands of voters waited before dawn in long lines to cast their vote for early in-person voting, experiencing delays in the process. According to Harris County Clerk's office located in Houston, Texas, tweeted that 115,000 people had already early voted. By the polls ended, 128,000 people had casted their vote, creating the highest early voter turnout in Harris County's history. 80-year-old early voter Theodis Carter shared his views about early voting this election. Take a look.
Economy, the virus, everything. I think this is about the most important vote in history.
Black Friday will be looking a little different at Walmart this year. Today, Walmart announced that the company will be having 3 separate events to launch online and in person. The event will be starting online November 4th, with in-person shopping starting November 7th. November 11th will be the second Black Friday day online for customers, and November 14th being held in person. The last event will be online November 25th and November 27th, the last day in person, the same day as the usual post-Thanksgiving shopping event. Protesting for lawmakers to devise a reopening plan for wedding industry took place today in Sacramento, California. Reopening plans require indoor operations, where members of the industry say would be done safely.
We're not asking for dance parties for 200 people. Quite frankly, that's not going to happen right away, and that's not safe. But what we need is a slow and steady growth pattern.
Members of the industry protest today for the same treatment that other wedding industries have been getting across the country, including restaurants that have been allowed to reopen in the state of California. For all Dunkin' lovers, Dunkin' Donuts has released a ghost pepper donut in the spirits of Halloween, looking a little bit different this year. Just like Dunkin's other popular donuts, it is a yeast-based donut with strawberry icing, with an added kick of cayenne pepper, ghost pepper, and sugar. Dunkin' is also asking people to surprise their friends with a spicy ghost pepper donut, and to share their reactions on social media, using the hashtag DunkinSpicySide. Reporting from Columbus, Ohio, I'm Gabby Jonas.
Thank you, Gabby. President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden will hold competing town halls Thursday night after the cancellation of the second presidential debate. Trump's event with NBC News is scheduled for 8 p.m. Eastern in Miami, and it will compete with an ABC town hall featuring Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden.
Trump and Biden were originally scheduled to participate in the second presidential debate Thursday night. However, Trump objected to that virtual format announced by the Commission on Presidential Debates after Trump's positive coronavirus diagnosis. As a result, the debate was eventually canceled.
Former President Barack Obama plans to hit the campaign trail for Joe Biden in the final stretch of the election. Officials say Obama will campaign next week and intends to focus on early voting states. They say he will not aggressively barnstorm swing states, but plans to visit a handful of critical battlegrounds where voting is underway. Obama's schedule has not been finalized, but Florida, North Carolina, Wisconsin are under consideration. The events will be socially distant and designed to draw local media coverage.
Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett is on Capitol Hill for a third day today. As senators get one more round of questions, Republicans hope to wind the hearing process down this week and move to a committee vote next week. Karen Kaffa has details from Washington.
During a second full day of questions, each of the 22 members of the Senate Judiciary Committee has 20 minutes to get answers from Amy Coney Barrett. Republicans eager to move the confirmation process along.
Above all, it's clear that you understand the appropriate role of a judge, just what we're looking for, at least on this side of the aisle.
Making today's session less about questions for Senate Republicans and more about praise for the nominee.
So this hearing to me is an opportunity to not punch through a glass ceiling, but a reinforced concrete barrier around conservative women, you're going to shatter that barrier.
For a second day, Democrats pressed Judge Barrett for answers on the Affordable Care Act at the center of a challenge to be argued before the court on November 10th.
Did you ever write or speak out in defense of the ACA, whether as a academic or as a member of the judiciary? That's a pretty simple question. Could be answered yes or no.
No, I've never had occasion to speak on the policy question.
And so every time you've weighed in on it, you said the law is unconstitutional.
After today's questioning, the committee plans to hear from outside witnesses tomorrow, setting the table to vote on the nomination next week and send it to the full Senate for a pre-election day vote. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Hello again, I'm Nathan Welsh with your weather forecast. So looking at tonight, we're going to have clouds starting at 9, and those are going to give way to some nice clear skies further in the night. We're going to have temperatures around 60 pretty much for the whole rest of the night. So we can see into 6 a.m. We're going to see a bit lower temperature, again clear, but as the morning progresses, we're going to see showers at noon all the way through 6 o'clock. And looking at tomorrow night, we have 40% chance of rain later, and we're getting down to around 50 or 40, late 40s in temperature, but it'll clear up by the end of the day. And looking at our 7-day forecast, again, we have a lot of clouds throughout the week, as you can see, but it's going to be some temperatures around the 60s, high 50s. Again, today was pretty much the nicest temperature-wise we're going to see, but I mean, if you have plans this weekend, you can still go ahead, take advantage of the nice sun. It's going to be a bit windy, but again, take advantage of this Saturday. Tomorrow, as I said before, we're going to see some rain, and on Tuesday, we're going to see rain again, but again, so my brother, I've mentioned it before, you know, he'll have the news for you on the things to look for in the sky whenever there's a clear night. That's why I name dropped him before. But yeah, that's all for the weather. I've been Nathan Welsh. See you next Wednesday. Have a good one, Portage County.
Thank you, Nathan. Now, more than 135,000 more deaths in the U.S. within the next few months are expected. That's what the University of Washington is predicting in its most recent model, if behaviors don't change. John Lawrence reports.
COVID-19 isn't easing its grip on the United States.
We're not in a plateau, and we're certainly not going down. This virus is still very much among us.
This is going to be one of the most troubling times in our modern history.
Health experts say the U.S. is facing a COVID-19 surge, one that could overwhelm hospitals.
Not only do we anticipate a fall and winter rise in the number of cases, I'm worried about the deaths significantly going up.
As more than 30 states in the U.S. have seen a rise in new COVID-19 cases in the past week, some medical setbacks. A trial for an antibody treatment from Eli Lilly is halted because of a possible safety issue. This comes one day after Johnson & Johnson said it's pausing an advanced clinical trial of a vaccine for a similar concern.
There are no quick fixes here. This is why we have to do science. I'm actually not discouraged by these, pauses. This is why we do clinical trials. We'll get it right, and we'll have great therapeutics. I'm not really worried about these, speed bumps.
That's why Americans are advised to not let their guard down over the next few months.
This virus can spread among families and friends if you take your mask off and you're primarily indoors.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
After the break, the SEC announcement has been canceled one of their biggest games of the year. The details in my sports report, so don't touch that dial.
And today may be proving to be quite a sweet day. How you can celebrate National Dessert Day and all its tasty deals when we come back.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education.
No one receives a diploma alone.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, Go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine. And I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and Mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, you know, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero.
Good job, Kitty Cat.
When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
And now, your TV2 Sports Report.
Former star Kent State athletes landed coaching jobs. The former Flash has spread out to universities across the country. First-team All-American Conference pitcher Ronnie Ledeen's is named assistant coach for softball at the University of Texas. And three-time All-MAC honors Bailey Brownfield landed a job at the Belmont University in Nashville.
Good evening, Portage County. I'm Mackenzie Pflum here with more on what's happening all things sports. Game cancellations due to COVID-19 and World Series matchups. Let's jump right into it with the 2021 Pro Bowl. Earlier today, the NFL announced that for the first time since 1949, the Pro Bowl will be canceled. The Pro Bowl was set to be played in Las Vegas, but due to the coronavirus pandemic, the league decided to focus on completing the full regular season and the postseason. The NFL will still name Pro Bowl teams at the end of the season through votes by fans, players, and coaches. All activities will be held virtually and voting begins November 17th. Saturday's game between Florida and LSU has been postponed after multiple Gators players have tested positive this week. The game has been rescheduled for December 12th, which the SEC's designed to be a built-in bye week. Florida has 18 positive tests among players on scholarship and 3 among walk-ons. Because so many players have tested positive on the Gators roster, next week's game against Missouri could be affected as well. And we are just learning that Alabama's head coach, Nick Saban, has also tested positive. Now into the Astros highlight against the Tampa Bay Rays. Jose Altuve starts out hot for the Astros. And now Joseph Wendell slaps a ball into left, scoring 2, and the Rays take the lead 2-1. Hunter Renfroe hits a blooper into right that just may fall, and that adds 2 to the Rays' score. The Rays now lead 5-1. Final score of the night, Tampa Bay 5 and the Astros 2. Now looking at the Dodgers and Braves game that is currently playing right now, the score is 2-0, bottom of the first, Dodgers lead. The Braves are up 2-0 in the series, however, against the Dodgers, who will be hoping to make this year their revenge tour after losing 2 years ago against the Astros in the World Series. Win or lose, they will play Game 4 tomorrow at 8:08. That's all things sports. I'll see you next week.
When we return, the surprising news that came knocking on a Stanford professor's door. That and more ahead.
And if you missed out on winning a PS5, well, Burger King is giving you another chance. A burger and a gaming system. All this when we come back.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Okay.
We return on air with breaking news. The contract negotiations between Youngstown State University and its union members will resume tonight at 9. Union spokesman Dr. Mark Vopat says the aim is to reach a deal tonight so students can resume classes as normal tomorrow. And a Stanford professor got some eye-opening news through his doorbell camera early Monday morning.
Paul? It's Bob Wilson. Yeah. You won the Nobel. You've won the Nobel Prize.
Bob Wilson is in fact sharing the Nobel Prize in Economics with his neighbor and fellow Stanford professor, Paul Milgram. The Nobel Committee in Stockholm couldn't get in touch with Milgram at 2 a.m. Pacific time Monday to share the important news. So Wilson volunteered to knock on his neighbor's door in the middle of the night. The Stanford professors received the prize for their work in the field of auction theory. They should also be considered to get a prize for most creative use of home security camera too.
If you weren't able to pre-order a PS5, Burger King wants to give you the chance to win one. The fast food restaurant is teaming up with Sony for a contest starting October 15th. Customers can get a scratch-off game token with their qualifying food order. There are 1,000 of the game consoles up for grabs, and if you're not one of the lucky ones, well, Burger King has lots of food coupons you could win. Again, that starts tomorrow. And it may just be a random Wednesday in October, but it's the day to treat yourself. That's because it's National Dessert Day. People around the country will be indulging with you.
That's right. Everything from ice cream, cookies, and cake to pies and candy. Clearly, you've got a lot more options. More now than ever before, if you think about it. Over the years, desserts have changed from natural candies and nuts to complex soufflés and multi-layered cakes. And that'll do it for this evening's edition of TV2 News. As always, thank you for being with us tonight.
And to be sweet like the desserts, keep watching for continuous coverage on all things Kent State and Portage County. Be sure to connect with us on social media at TV2 KSU. I'm Shane Troyano.
And I'm Chris Abreu. We're here every weeknight. We'll see you tomorrow at 6.
A simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Myth. I can party with people as long as they don't have symptoms. That myth is false. As we've seen, up to 40% of people who have COVID-19 are asymptomatic and can pass it on to others. So I'd recommend avoiding any social parties, especially indoor ones. If you want to try to socialize but reduce your risk, I'd recommend meeting outside in small groups, continuing to wear a mask, and socially distancing from others if you can. Then together, we can keep COVID-19 out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.